Okay, everyone. Time for kind of a triple magazine one. The reason I'm doing this as a triple is because it's the Eldari jet bikes, and what we've basically got is we've got two jet bikes per issue. So I felt what I'll do is I'll do them as a single review across the issue so that we can look at all of the jet bikes all at once and have a quick look under the hood, so to speak, at what goes on within the issues. And, when I actually build the jet bikes, I will split them down into three different videos because each jet bike, although built similar, there's three variants, three of them somewhat not very complex, but definitely worthy of a single build per one. But before I get into what the actual models look like, let's get down to the actual magazines. So what's potentially going to happen is in this issue we're going to see how to build. In this issue, potentially how to paint. This issue, I'm not sure what they'll actually do here, because obviously we've done building and painting. Maybe we'll get a bit more of the fluff behind it, a bit of more of the lore. However, I'm calling them jet bikes because that's exactly what they are. They are jet bikes. The actual definition is Windriders. Now, part of me, I have to kind of come out and say this. Part of me feels I might have wanted, I think they're called the Silver Helms or something like that. You can actually get a jet bike with a lance, basically, but unfortunately that's not what we've got here. We've got the Windriders, who are obviously more about shooting things down. Anyway, let's have a look and see what's going on. With issue 27, we do get our data cards. Good thing is they are actual card and not just flimsy paper. You can actually physically cut them, perforated so they're easy to remove, giving us the actual information. I love the fact that Combat Patrol has gone down this route of proper data cards, because Stormbringer was terrible for all the rules to be in the files, and your files would basically fall apart from constant flicking. So having these proper little data cards is so much better. Index cards are so much easier for use. We've got data cards for every single Eldari we have so far. Now, curious, what else we get? I don't know if that, I might have mixed this one up, but we've also got these four types of chaos that we're going to get. I do think, though, if I'm right, are we not supposed to also get one additional Eldari? Do we not get Wraith Guards? So it seems that we are a bit short of a card here. Maybe that will come in a future issue. Again, this tells us what's coming up in the future, because we've got the Dark Apostle, the Legionnaires, the Havocs, and the Hellbrute. That is a pretty solid Chaos force by anyone's estimation. I'm also kind of hoping, I'm trying to get a second set of Legionnaires, to be quite honest. I know I get the subscription, but if I see some Legionnaires hanging around, I'm going to buy them extra, just because I think it's good to have the extra core troopers. Havocs, some heavy weapons for the Chaos Space Marines, so that's cool as well. Right. And a leader in the Dark Apostle. Okay, so the data cards are there, which I really like. I think that's a very positive thing. That they're doing that one. Okay, how to build. Now, I've seen it going around online, and I had a brief look at this before I actually came on. These instructions are well off, in that the numbers are apparently completely wrong. So things like this, 19, 20, 21, well, they're not. They're actually 18, 19, 16, 17, and 18. So that's off. I've also apparently, I think the heads are misnumbered as well. So there's instructions on how to build. They're numbered wrong. I don't know how such a massive mistake was made. It's not like like a one number out. It is completely and utterly thrown out on some of these numbers. I don't know how that's happened so completely, how someone's made that mistake on each one of these. So they've got all three of these misnumbered and all three of the heads misnumbered. I don't know if there's anything more than that. Now, in this issue, because we are getting like a triple, as in the triple issue to get all the 6 Windriders, I was expecting no painting techniques in this, but here we do. We actually have a painting technique, which I'll be interested to show you, and that is the relayering technique. Now, in the previous videos, you probably saw me wash all of the troops. I did my washing differently to the way that the Combat Patrol shows it. I tend to water mine down a bit more. I do it in a slightly different way. So I'm going to then show you how I apply the relayering to my ones. So as some of you know, if you're watching my painting videos, the carapace on my Tyranids is blue because I did a palette swap between these and the Space Marines. Now, my Space Marines are in a split purple and Wraithbone colour. So again, I've washed those in 2 different colours. I'm now going to have to relayer those to get the right effect. So I think relayering is very important on this one to get it right, particularly with things like my Eldari though are a bit different because I've actually got black armour. That's going to make relayering a bit more complex. Well, not complex, but less impactful because it's a black wash on black armour. So there's not really any relayering to do on the black, but on the yellow and on the white, the Corax white or the Wraithbone, there is relayering to do. So I've got a lot of relayering to do. In fact, I've got a ton of relayering to do. That's going to take me a long time, which is why I'm trying to get some of these videos rattled off at the moment. So it's cool. We've got a new kind of proper painting style going on in this one, which I really like. Aspect Warriors. So this is one of the core things about the Eldari. The idea that Eldari tend to fall into disciplines, and some Eldari get obsessed about a particular path of a warrior. Hate to say it, but autism seems to be a big thing with the Eldari. I'm not taking the mick out of autistic people. I have neurodiverse. I'm neurodiverse myself. I'm actually saying that in a kind of nice way. They get obsessed with a particular path and they go down it. There we go. It's like the inclusivity within the Eldari. If an Eldari gets an obsession, they will become that obsession. Okay. So yeah, there's some really cool. I think it's the Howling Banshees we get with the premium kits. The Shining Spears, they're a cool type of jet bike that I really like. I'd love some of those. I think they look gorgeous and they're kind of do-up. You'll notice that with the Eldari, it's encouraged with your Aspect Warriors to go and just go nuts about all the different colour schemes. I'm glad they've not changed that Games Workshop over time. Over time, Games Workshop have become a bit, everything must be the same for simplicity of painting. They've kept this with the Eldari, this keeping everything bold and bright and vibrant, basically like Warhammer used to be when it was first kicking out, with bright, bold colours. The Eldari have stayed with that, even through the very grim darkness that's been pumped into it over time. At some points, the grim darkness of Warhammer 40k has become an obsession within the setting, and it's become too much. So I like that the Eldari still have that kind of bright vibrantness pushing along them. So many different types of Eldari Aspect Warriors that you've got to love. Swooping Hawks, look at that thing. I want one of them. I'd love a crew. That is awesome, isn't it? Yeah. That's just such an amazingly cool Eldari vehicle. Right. Playing proper, solid core rules, you know, really getting into it now. About how we kind of do a proper full-blown combat patrol collection. That's actually interesting. The fact that they've actually shown an Iron Warrior for that one. Now, I wonder if... see, I think they're doing Black Legion on the How to Paint of the Chaos. However, it would be interesting to see if they go down a different route. But my understanding is they've gone with Black Legion. So we've got some nice, you know, battles going on here. Back to Tyranids versus Space Marines on that one. What else have we got? It's a very nice view of all the Tyranids as well there. The full Tyranid set, I think that is. Okay, yeah, you can see here that Chaos, it does look like Chaos Space Marines are going to be aimed towards the Black Legion, but we shall see. Okay, so that's just sheet number 27. Let's roll on to sheet 28 here. So, right, so I was expecting to come into a how to paint here. We haven't got that. We've gone straight into the lore about the Eldari and the concept that a lot of their constructs, like the Wraith Lord, the Wraith Knight, the Wraith Guard, they're dead. They are basically powered by the soul stones of the dead. They pop them on, and then it flows through the wraith bone to come to life. There's some fantastic books out there where they have the Eldari in them, and they basically, there's no other way to put it. You know, the constructs look like statues until they start moving. I can't remember what the actual... I keep forgetting what the book's called, where it's got Ferrus Marinus and Fulgrim in it. It's where Fulgrim ascends. Angel Exterminatus. There's a fantastic little book about the Eldar, basically an Eldari graveyard in there, which is really cool. Okay. I want one. I want a Wraith Knight. I have Imperial Knights. I have a Castigator, I think it's called, and a regular a Canis Rex Knight. I really love an Eldari Knight to go toe to toe. The other thing I want is an Orc Stomper. I just want a Titanic battle. I want knights facing off against each other. So that is cool, this Wraith idea. On the opposite side of the Eldari spectrum is the Drukhari, the Dark Eldar, basically. They basically live in this wonderful place that I can't pronounce properly, Comara, where they just basically go around engaging in lots and lots of hedonism. It was the hedonism of the Eldari that created Slanesh, the god of excess, the goddess of excess. Well, neither one nor the other of excess, basically. They basically taught the universe a new warp hole while creating a goddess of excess. It's just cool things like that you've got to love. So you've got the kind of Craftworld Eldari, you've got the Dark Eldari, you've also got things like Exodites, who, without putting too fine a point on it, if you ever look up the High Elves, there's a very good chance that the High Elves of Warhammer Old World are actually Exodites. Basically Eldari refugees who've basically been put on the Old World. It's all there. They even seem to have what's seer stones. So there's really cool things. You can see they're a lot more spiky and piratical, these guys, the Drukhari. Okay, a bit of a story to go off, which is quite cool. I do love a good story. I might read that with my son when I've got a chance. He needs to spend more time reading. A little bit of a subsector thing as well going on. I love stuff like that. The Horus Heresy. where I really advise you, if you want to learn about the Horus Heresy, under no circumstance try and learn about it from Facebook, because you will end up coming across a long-running joke of, I think, something like John Warhammer has to collect the 40,000 Warhammers to become the Horus Heresy. Don't get your Horus Heresy lore from Facebook threads. I can assure you, you won't get very far. This is the seminal event in the Imperium's history, and it's where this guy, the God Emperor, well, the Emperor of Mankind, fights a civil war against his son, Horus. This piece of artwork is a piece of beauty, with the angel Sanguinius lying dead, you know, Horus's brother, lying dead at his feet. There's so much said in this one image. I can't remember who the artist is, which is shameful of me, because it is actually based upon an older artwork and an older miniature diorama that someone made, but it is still impactful to this day, because this just in so many ways should tell you everything about this moment in the Horus Heresy. The sort of the Horus who's lost his soul almost. He simply doesn't care that he's killed his beloved brother. The Emperor looking, like almost empty. Anyway, it's a beautiful picture. And I love it, and it tells you so many things in a single image, as all good art should. There's lots of lore in this. This is beautiful, isn't it? So much lore going through this. You could spend ages delving into it. Collecting Windriders, understanding them a bit more. Like literally, it seems like that's most of this is about like Imperium stuff with a bit of Eldari stuff, but a bit more on the Windriders, what they are. Some more core concepts going in, like get your play going more. Back to Space Marines versus Tyranids. I want to use my jet bikes by this point, but never mind. Okay, issue 29. This is going to be a long one, but it's best that I just get this done all at once. Again, you've got what looks like a battle here between the Drukhari and the Eldari. Got the Howling Banshees, and I can't remember what that character is called. Again, how to paint them. Now, painting them is actually going to be quite interesting for me. I'm just going to show you what I've been doing with my Wraithlord. So I have been practicing blending colours. So I tried to make it look like some kind of unique alien sunset on these armour pads. Try to get a bit of depth and tone to the helmet. I'm partway through painting this, so I've done this part here. Again, trying to get a bit of depth and tone to it. I'm doing that in lots of stages, about how to paint it. I'm hoping that some of you are following, maybe learning and picking up some tips. On the jet bikes, I want to do something very similar to what I've done here with the blending. My skill level at blending is okay, but you can probably see that I haven't perfectly replicated the colours on both sides. So, I can blend, I just can't always get the same effect every single time, unfortunately. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be painting these with Craftworld Ulthware, but on the actual front of it, I'm going to try fading different colours, yellow to black. So, and I'm only going to use the colours that I've got in Combat Patrol so far. So this actual fade is just Avalon Sunset, Barretnar Burgundy, and Abaddon Black, and that's that fade. And I'm going to try and do multiple fades, but I'm only going to use the colours that I got from Combat Patrol, so that if I can do it, you can do it. So we'll see what goes on there. So yeah, I'm going to do some painting tutorials, but they're going to be my approach to it. And I hope you will gain benefit from seeing me do things a different way from this. Because one thing about the Eldari stuff is they've got these beautiful curves. And if you can learn how to do a fade on a curve, your painting game will just shoot up. You will become so much more confident if you can learn how to do that. Even if you just start off like me, just simple. You know, this is by no means the greatest fade you will ever see. I'm not pretending it's the greatest fade you will ever see. But I'm trying to improve. I'm trying to up my game. I'll show you how I do it. You will then learn to do it even better. Okay. So the painting is in this one. Nice and solid. Cabals, cults and covens of the Drukhari or the Dark Eldari. Very cool. Again, you know, they're very... They're kind of like the chaotic version of the Eldari, but again, it's very important. I don't believe they are chaos as such. They are cruel. They are sadistic. They are the reason Slaanesh exists. You know, so that's just to give you an idea. The god of excess was caused by the Eldari being this all the time. The craft world split off from them and decided to, you know, be sensible. This lot just said, you know what, let's go and be cruel and sadistic. I have seen, if you look up Paint Killer on Facebook, Paint Killer is a painting god. The stuff that he does with his Dark Eldar, with his Eldari, his Knight, he's just amazing. Anyway, more playing, more understanding how a proper battle rolls, how a combat patrol game runs. Again, these kind of things really, you know, really matter to get your game up. Then, good, we're actually using the Windriders versus some Tyranids. Let's mow down those Termagants. So, you know, got a nice little battle to play. I personally think it's going to be an Eldari victory. They're just going to mow down those Termagants, but who knows? Who knows what could happen on those kind of battles? Just having a look at that. That looks to me like a Termagant with a barbed weapon. That's how it looks to me there. It looks very similar, doesn't it? Anyway, so there we go. That's our magazines. We're getting some more colours in issue number 30, which is good. A grey, and it might seem crazy, but actually a grey is a fantastic thing. Mechanicum Standard Grey is very useful grey to have. Agathatch Earth shade is an absolutely fantastic shade for doing skin and things with. And we're starting to get chaos. This is why I'm probably going to do a Word Bearer successor chapter, because this guy has Word Bearer written all over him. Let's have a look at the models now. So you get in each issue basically 2 matching ones. Now, layout wise, they're almost identical, and at a cursory glance they're all the same. However, if you have a look just carefully at the nose cone, the seer stones, the spirit stones, sorry, are in slightly different places. It's just enough of a difference just to make them look better. The thing is about things like machines is machines tend to be known for them being similar. So even if you've got someone like the Eldari who sing their material into existence, they're still going to follow patterns that they know work. And this is it, you know, so yeah, slight variations, but they're pretty much all the same. The heads, again, pretty much the same with helmets, but of course we've got spirit stones in slightly different places. What I might do is I might make a leader for one of these, so turn one of them into a leader by looking through my bits, because I think we've got some spare open helms, so helmetless from the Guardians. So I think what I'll do is I will make one of these into without a helmet on, so that I can clearly see that that is the leader. So I don't really need to show you every single one of these. We just need to kind of have a look at any one of them, because they are practically all the same. But we've got to love, you know, the quality and the way that these look. There's this kind of, it's like hard to see, but you can kind of see there's definitely a kind of interesting little indentation here. You know, it's just very, like, I find that quite a curious design decision. You know, it's like, I can't quite describe it. It kind of breaks the smooth pattern, but not in a way that ruins it. It's such a strange design decision. Now, what I would say is, because of that being on there, if you wanted to kind of change the colour tone slightly in there, you could do. Could use it as a way to help run a strip along it, you know, like a line along it, like a break in the colour. Have this one colour, have the back part another colour. So you could do things like that. The core of the bike, again, you know, the main bodywork looks very cool. You've got these Eldari fins. You've got the typical, you know, thin Eldari body part. Got a choice of weapons as well. I'm going to say a choice of weapons, though. I mean, is it a choice of weapons? Let's see. So, yeah, so basically, it's probably best to get a nice balance between them, I think. Yeah, you've got different weapon layouts. So I think, looking at this, yeah, you've got, I think you might have an option between these two, or potentially that one there. I think that's a different, like a double weapon. It's just so beautiful, isn't it? It's so smooth, the way that the angles kind of just, you know, it's that almost like what you might call kinesthetic design, the feeling of movement in something static. You've got to love that kind of thing. You get these bases just so obviously you can prop them up. These things, I have to admit, are terrible for braking. I know a lot of people like to cut that part off and replace it with a magnet, and then, where is it now? Let me find where it is on these. We've got to get this right. Then kind of underneath, they'll put a magnet there. That way, when you're transporting them, you can separate the base from the actual model. If I've got a chance, I'll do that. But just to give you an idea, there's a Bretonian Pegasus where I've done that too. And it just means for transport, they can be separated out safely. So sometimes with flyers, it's a good idea to do that. Makes transporting a lot easier. But I'll see if I can get around to doing a video about doing that. It's not that difficult, to be quite honest. But, you know, saying to do something and showing that it can be done is a good idea. Okay then. There we go. So that is a triple review. What a cool set, actually. Really good set of issues. Really gets a lot of lore in that thing. Both Eldari and a bit more about the Imperium. Got some lovely data cards as well. And the models. Oh, the models are beautiful, aren't they? Those Eldari Windriders are gorgeous. I love them. I cannot wait to put them together and to paint them. And that's me done for this one. Sorry it was such a long one. Hope you like it. Hope you found what I had to say interesting. Please like and subscribe, and I will see you when I put these together.